We have discussed the dimensions of child development and what are the changes a person is going through the childhood and adolescent stage. And when we think of this adolescent stage, we can see that they are undergoing lot of changes physically, socially, mentally. There are different changes they are undergoing. During this transitional change from childhood to adolescence, we can see that they are confronted with various issues and problems. And you have sometimes listened about the contemporary issues also affecting adolescents. In this video, our focus is upon the role of school in addressing issues among adolescents. We know that there are major complaints that is coming from parents as well as teachers when the children entered the adolescent stage. And how do teachers can adjust or intervene or help the adolescents in resolving the issues is very much important. Issues among adolescents. For that topic, we have with us our expert, Mr. A.J. Philip. Let I introduce our expert. Mr. A.J. Philip is the manager of Deebalaya Senior Secondary School, Kalkaji Extension, New Delhi, and chairman Deebalaya Senior Secondary School, Guspati, New District, Haryana. He was until recently Secretary and Chief Executive of Deebalaya, one of Delhi's larger NGOs. He is a journalist by profession and has 48 years of experience. He has held high editorial positions in newspapers like the Tribune, the Hindustan Times, the Indian Express and All India Radio. He has written over 10,000 editorials for various newspapers and has written thousands of articles including obituary. He is also an author and translator. He has translated Professor Omcheri N. Pillai's autobiography Agasmikam, which won 2021 year's Kendriya Sahitya Academy Award into English. He had been a guest faculty at Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan, NISCOT and IIMC. He has also given guest lectures at AMU, Punjab University, Chandigarh, Punjabi University, Patiala and Himachal University. He was a consultant of IGNOU when it introduced a course in creative writing in the 80s. Welcome, sir, to this session. So here what I have stated in the beginning part, adolescence is a time full of stress and storm. But it's not a period of disturbance. This is normal. Everybody has to undergo through these changes. Without entering the adolescent stage, no one can enter the adulthood stage. So when such children comes to our school, how do we deal with them? That is important. As a manager of senior secondary school, sir, what are the issues and problems that you observe among adolescents?
Yeah, what is adolescence? Adolescence is a transition from childhood to adulthood. So in this transition, a lot of things happen in the body, physical and mental. I'll give you a small example. Recently, one of our girl students came by the school bus, stopped near the school, and she got down saying that she had some work and she will walk back to the school. So she got down from the bus and instead of walking back to the school, she was not seen. So the teacher noticed it and he checked in the school and found that the girl had not turned up at the school. So what did we do? we immediately contacted the parents came and we told about the situation, and we did some searching. The family also, the parents, did some searching here and there, and we found out, that she was friendly with a boy, so she ran away with that boy. Fortunately for the school and for her and for her parents, we were able to trace the girl within a few hours, and she was brought back to the family, and we did not, of course, advertise the incident at all. We did not tell anybody, and the parents, were able to, guide her. We also, as a school, guided her, and she is now attending the school, and we told her, that when she is of marriageable age, she can fall in love, she can marry anybody, but till she reaches that stage, she should study well. And now she is coming to the school, and the boy is also there, but nothing has happened. So this is just one small instance I wanted to point out. So adolescence is a very crucial stage in life. Children become angry, children become, argumentative, they start asking questions instead of answering. So that is a stage where there is a stage in which the parents have to understand, the school has to understand, and deal with them.
Okay, sir. You have rightly narrated what incidents and how the school intervened in that issue. In some cases, serious conflicts may occur in parent-adolescent relationships. Adolescents show less interest in studies and sometimes may be absent in class for many days. In such cases, how could school intervene?
Yeah, what we do is, in our case, if a student doesn't turn up at the school for a few days, we will certainly contact the parents. We will tell the parents. We have a system whereby the parent knows in the morning itself whether his child or her child has turned up at the school. That is a technical device that we have. But more than that, we also try to contact the parents and find out why the child is not coming. And if necessary, one of our teachers or one of our staff members would go to the house, meet the parent, and find out exactly why the child is not coming. Sometimes the children can also create problems. I'll give you a small instance. One of our girl students, one day the parents came to our school. They came with some laddu. The parents were very happy with the performance of her in the 10th board examination. So they came with laddu one. So we were happy to receive the laddu, and we tried to find out why they were very happy. Because she got 95% or something marks. Actually, she did not get that mark. What she did was, she made some fabrication, and she converted some 60 into 95 something. Yeah, she did it. And then, so we found that she could not have got 95% mark. So we were a little skeptical, and then we checked the certificate and found that she did not get 95%. And she had made the changes herself. Instead of admitting that, she blamed the school. She said, the school did it. Why should we do that? The principal will never do that. No school will ever do that. Anyway, we counseled her. We called her. Initially she said, that this was the certificate and things like that. Fortunately, we had, the CCTV camera. We showed that, she was doing something with the certificate in the class. And when she was confronted with this CCTV clipping, she confessed that it was her mistake. So we did not take it seriously. We said, okay, you destroy the certificate and now apply for a duplicate copy saying that your certificate is lost. So that is how we helped her. She is now a student. She is still a student, and she is doing well.
Okay, sir. You have rightly stated what type of mischief during this stage adolescents are doing, and how instead of blaming or punishing them, how the school intervene in a positive manner. So through a positive manner only, we can change the attitude of adolescence. And we can see that adolescence is the time when children develop and exercise their independence. And we know that the integrity, they want to develop the initiative, their autonomy, everything they want to develop. This can sometimes give rise to questioning the parents and teachers' rules. Sometimes they are questioning the parents' rules. Sometimes in the classroom also they are always argumentative in nature and standing up for what they believe is right. How would a teacher handle such situations? Do you have faced in your school that teachers have approached you that such type of situations are there?
Yeah, we have, I have many such instances to narrate. For instance, recently we came across, 5 students of our school. We have a park very close to our adjoining court is a park. We found these 5 boys, smoking cigarette in the park just before the school bell was to ring. So they came a little early and they were smoking outside the school, not on the campus. But we came to know about it. And we called, the principal called all the 5 children to his office. We did not scold him. We did not scold them. We told them, we explained to them, cigarette smoking is not a great thing. And they can smoke when they become, when they earn money. But not with their parents' money and things like that. We counseled them. And they also admitted that, initially they said, they were not smoking. But later they confessed that they were smoking. And then when they were properly counseled, they realized that it was foolish to smoke. So they said their friends are also smoking, that is why they also smoked. So we told them that peer pressure is there, but you should be able to overcome that. And fortunately we have 2 counselors, full-time counselors in our school, and they were able to counsel them. And I am sure none of these 5 children will be smoking now. Because we have counseled them, and that counseling has been very effective. So that is what we do. Recently, I myself, was a chain smoker. So one day, I was a chain smoker and I gave up my smoking about 35 years ago. Recently, I saw one boy, I was standing at the bus stop, I saw one boy coming on a motorcycle, stopping there, immediately buying a cigarette and then smoking. So I told him, sir, gentleman, I was a chain smoker and you should, this smoking will not help you. Something like that, I counseled him. And he also, he immediately threw the cigarette and said, sir, I will not smoke again. And even the way, I do not know whether he will give it up or not. But there is no harm in making an attempt.
Okay, sir, you have narrated from your experience itself. How do you change chain smoking? So this is always inspiration to others to know that how we can lead a healthy life. Some adolescents may pass through a state of identity confusion or diffusion. Such adolescents may remain unfocused and are unable to make commitments. They are not able to concentrate in their studies. And now we can see that through this online learning, we are getting complaints from parents that children are simply playing with the mobile phones. What they are studying, what they are watching, which website they are watching, nobody knows. So in such situation, how would school intervene in such cases?
Yeah, now that mostly online classes are happening, the schools do not have much control over what the students do. But in the case of our school, what we have noticed is that some of the students do like that. They watch all kinds of websites. But the point is that they should concentrate on their studies also. So what we do is wherever counseling is necessary, we counsel the students that they should concentrate on their studies. Studies should be the prime motive, and that is how we tackle them. But even so, it may not be wholly possible because children are children. They have their needs, and we cannot you can only guide them. You cannot discipline them. If you try to discipline them, it will have its adverse consequences also. So we have to be very empathetic to these children, and we should understand them. Understanding is the key to their problems. I'll give you a small example. Recently, the Form 2 boys were fighting. they were physically fighting on the campus. We got them, and then we counseled them. The principal spent a lot of time with them, and then he understood one thing. Both of them were in touch with one girl. In other words, both of them were in love with a girl, and they were fighting over that girl. So what we did was, and we noticed that the children themselves admitted to the principal that they were spending a lot of time on the mobile chatting with her, and one boy did not like the other boy chatting. That is why, and it was not the first time that they were fighting. So we counseled them. We did, after a lot of counseling, we counseled the girl also, and everything was done privately. Nobody knew about it. And today, they have a very good, healthy relationship. They are now friends. They don't do that kind of chatting. So we told them that they can marry, whatever they can do. But now is the time for them to study. Let them study. And our counseling had a good effect on her. 2 years ago, I had the occasion to go to Texas in the US, where I visited a government school. It was a government school. There were high school. There were 3,000 students. The principal took me all around the campus, and there were 3,000 students. What I noticed was that the school had 24 counselors employed in the school, and
so
each
teachers,
24, and each counselor had a cubicle, so the student could go to the counselor at any time. There was privacy. Nobody would know whether the child had gone. So here in our school, we cannot employ those many people as counselors, but the 2 counselors that we employ, we ensure that they are always working hard. Why? Because we have to address this problem, because so many children come with their personal problems, and now that the lockdown and other things have happened, the children do not have any place to go also to complain. So they can't go anywhere. So the only place where they can complain is now that the school has reopened. They come to the school and tell our problems to our counselors, and we counsel them.
Okay, sir. Sometimes we have observed that some children who are getting first rank or very well in studies in their primary classes, entering the adolescent stage, their academic achievement is reducing. How would teacher intervene in such cases?
Yeah. That is a universal phenomenon. Some children, they are very good in studies at the lower classes. They do not pay much attention, because as we have noticed one thing as parent, or as a school official, what we have noticed is that the attention span of the children has reduced. Children cannot attend. Attention span is very, very limited. Because of that, many children are losing their interest in studies. So what the schools, nowadays, the children have access to all kinds of information. The school should, what the school should do is that spark the interest in education among the students. They can also learn, but what is required is to spark that urge for knowledge, that urge to study, and they themselves can study. That is what I noticed. So the primary commitment of the school is not exactly to teach them, but to inspire them, so that they can study well. And I have noticed, as I interview many candidates also, then I notice one thing. Some candidates come for interview, I notice that they have done well in 10th standard, but in 12th standard their marks are very low. Reduced. So the reverse also happens. I am not saying that it is not happening, but the reverse is also true. It shows that at some stage of their life, they did not give much importance to education or studies. So this anomaly has to be addressed by the students, by the teachers, by the parents, and by the students themselves. Then this problem will not arise.
Okay. Another one, we can see that peer group is the most influential circle of adolescents. Sometimes, under the pressure of peer groups, some adolescents may start using drug and alcohol as an experimentation. In such cases, how could school intervene?
Yeah. You see, I was once, with the Tribune in Chandigarh, and as an editor there, I used to visit many schools to organize programs, and one complaint that the teachers all mentioned was the huge, high drug abuse among the students there. In fact, in one school in Punjab, the principal showed me a place where a lot of drug waste was put. It shocked me. And in Delhi also this happens. Although we have not of late come across any such drug abuse among our children or our students, I cannot guarantee or I cannot say with 100% confidence that none of our children is using drugs. That is a problem we need to address. How this can be addressed is the teachers can also notice any behavioral change. A person who uses drug will behave differently in the class. So the teacher is the first person. Of course, the parents should know, but nowadays the parents are also so busy with their own mobile phones. They don't have time for their children. So now, when they attend the school, their behavioral changes should be noticed by the teachers, and remedial action needs to be taken. And what is that remedial action? It is not by disciplining them, it is not by punishing them, it is by counseling them, it is by telling them, it is by counseling them in the right manner. Sometimes counseling may take hours, but at the end of the counseling, the child should be able to transform himself or herself. And that is the only way in which it can be faced.
Rightly, sir has stated, instead of punishing, we should understand and counsel the adolescents. That is the way that we can improve their performance. Next, we can see that during the adolescent stage, there are a lot of development of secondary sexual characteristics, which gives rise to new feelings in teenagers and pushes them to experiment with their bodies. In such cases, what is the role of school? Whether you think that sex education should be provided in schools?
Yes, I think we should provide that kind of, we may not call it sex education, but we need to provide. So what we have done in our school is that we have engaged qualified people who come and tell these students about puberty, about how the girls have their periods, and the counselor, the persons whom we engaged, they would tell it in a mixed class, so that the boys should also know what is period, what is period, and why should a girl be ashamed of it. So why a girl should not be ashamed of it. Now, that is what our effort was. And it had a huge impact. I remember, once one parent came to us and told us that, what you are doing is very bad because you are teaching them sex. We said no. So she said, we should stop it. Oh, sir. Okay, I said, okay, we will stop it. Now what we did was, we asked that lady to organize a small meeting of the parents or the ladies, mothers, and our person will come and teach the same thing. And what we did was, we took classes for the parents. After the same person took classes for the parents they themselves said that they did not know many things about, these things. It was good that, so this is fine. So the parents, conviction was there. Afterwards, we restarted the program.
Okay. So, rightly sir has stated that conviction of parents is also important. How the parents are dealing. Majority of the time, the adolescents may not feel free to discuss with their parents. They may be discussing with the peer group, they may be checking the social media and getting the wrong perception or understanding about the sexual abuse, something like that. So, here the school has to take a major role, and in this session, you have come across what are the issues adolescents are really facing in the field, in the real life experiences, what are the problems and how a school can intervene in a positive manner. Instead of punishing, we should understand the adolescents as what they are. Then only we can make some change.